everyone, welcome to another Codex review. As always, my name is Jay, and today I'll be going over the new Eldar Craftworlds Codex that just came out today. So let's begin with a little bit of history. So, Eldar, they were really strong in 4th edition. I remember that. People really hated Eldar. Wave Serpent spam was pretty brutal. But then through 5th, they kind of just became, lower middle competitiveness, and people could deal with them quite easily, I found. Then 6th edition came out, and the 6th edition Codex was insane. It was very, very, very powerful. Now, Eldar tend to be kind of one of the preferred children of Games Workshop. Phil Kelly, it's his baby army, and 6th edition was very, very strong. And then when 7th edition came out, Eldar became even stronger, because Maelstrom of War, Eldar are arguably the most maneuverable, with probably the best shooting army in the game. So very few things can touch them, and almost everything in the Codex is a very good choice for the Codex. It was a very good internal balance, but very terrible external balance, because Eldar were hands down so much better than most other armies, and they have things to deal with most other armies very easily. The big things in 6th edition that came out were obviously battle focus, which allowed them to shoot and run, or run and shoot, which is huge because they can just jump around corners, shoot you, and then jump back around the corner. And things like Blade Storm, making all their shuriken pistols and anything of their shuriken things auto wound on a 6 with basically rending. It becomes AP2. So they can shoot toughness 8 things and wound them on a 6, plus they can kill Terminators on a 6. And that's what you typically find. Like, Space Marine armies are just shredded to the ground by these pistols. And very few things can touch them. Now, Wave Serpent spam is become kind of the thing, or Wraith spam. And yeah, so then all of a sudden we find out that the very first 6th edition Codex to be replaced is Eldar, which was kind of weird to me because it's not the oldest. Dark Angels are older, Chaos Space Marines are older, a couple other armies are older. And it's not the worst. In fact, it's arguably the best. So I figured it would probably be nerfed to the point of a 7th edition Codex. Most 7th edition codices, other than, I guess, Necrons and possibly Khorne Demonkin, have been really middle ground fare, not a lot of special rules, good but not overpowered. Good options, but still not too crazy. And I was wondering if that was going to happen with the Eldar. And so this video is going to cover my first impressions, a couple other things, the new detachment rules, and a couple other things. But so my first impressions, it's still an extremely strong Codex. They did nerf a couple things and bring them to more reasonable things, but in the end, I feel it is just as strong, if not stronger in some ways. It's a very strong Codex. They didn't change a lot, because it was a 6th edition Codex, and it's not much to upgrade it to 7th edition. Very few of the Warlord traits got changed. 1 Psychic Power got removed, and 1 got put in. I think Doom got changed slightly. Now it's a Warp Charge 2 instead of a Warp Charge 1. Not a lot changed as far as points cost goes, so you'll see me saying a lot has not changed. But most things got slight buffs, and very few things got decreased in value. So, in my opinion, it is a strong, very, very, very strong Codex. I don't think it's any weaker than it was before, just different. A couple things got nerfed, but a couple things got buffed. So, yeah, some of the other, minor notes that I'll be going over, like Laser Lock. That was one of the big things that people were happy that got removed, because Laser Lock was really powerful. Scatter lasers basically made everything twin-linked. That's gone, because that was really overpowered. Basically, everyone would shoot their twin-link lasers at their lasers at you first, and then everything's twin-linked. Oh, brutal. Other things, the D weapons, like the D size, they all got they got changed. They're not instant death on a 6 anymore. They're now they're kind of a weaker strength D, because they are strength D now, but it's -1 on the chart. So they'll never be able to get the 6 plus D6 strength wounds, and but and on a 1 or 2 now they do nothing. But basically, on a 3-up, they do D3 wounds instead of 1 at AP2, strength 4. So, pretty cool. Other things, Runes of Warding and Runes of Witnessing got changed. They're not called Runes of Warding or Witnessing anymore. Now they're called Runes of the Farseer. And what it essentially allows them to do is, once per phase, the Eldar player can re-roll any number of dice to deny the witch or cast a psychic power, which is extremely powerful. So now they can throw all their dice and re-roll them to deny the witch if they really don't want to get a power off, and they can basically guarantee they're going to get their power off. So, and remove perils, basically. So, it's really, really powerful. Fast Shot got taken away, I think. I'm pretty sure Fast Shot got taken away. They just changed a couple of wordings, like Path of Command has now become, is Path of Strategy, I think was the old one, now it's called Path of Command. The Eldar Psychics now have access to the Sancta Demonology table, which is huge. So now you can get Farseers who have Sanctuary, buffing the Invul saves, or another fun one would probably be Gate of Infinity. So they can now just teleport around the table, shooting stuff, killing it, and then bouncing away. Vortex of Doom. Ouch. And of course, the Force Organization chart was moved around, and a couple models were removed. They removed the special unit, the Pathfinders, I forget what they're called, the Alatok Pathfinders or something like that. Also, Harlequins were removed. That was one of the debates whether or not they would happen. Harlequins were removed from the Codex because now they have their own Codex Harlequin supplement. So that's that. And of course, the only other things that were moved around were the Avatar of Cain and the Wraith Knight were moved to the Lord of War chart. But now the Wraith Knight is now a gargantuan monstrous creature and gets all the benefits of being a gargantuan monstrous creature. And he went up a little bit in cost. And I'll be going all over that in the future videos. So this video is going to focus primarily on the special rules. But the special rules for the army haven't really changed that much. They still get combat. Battle focus is still there. Battle focus is still there. So, yeah. That's all I can say. Battle focus is still there, and so the army will be very maneuverable, and pretty much everyone still has battle focus. And even if you take the best part is if you take the Craftworld War Host, which is the detachment, your battle focus gets even better. So let's talk about that. So the Craftworld War Host is the detachment in this codex. And once again, like some of the previous codices, it is a summation of formations. So it's a bunch of formations, each with their own benefits, and I'll be going over the formations throughout this review. But let's talk about the Craftworld War Host. So for a Craftworld War Host, you have to have at least 1 to 3 called Guardian Hosts as the core of your army. And a Guardian Host can either be a Guardian Battle Host, which consists of a Farseer, 3 units of Guardian Defenders, a Viper Squadron, a unit of Warwalkers, a Val's Wrath Support Battery, and 0 to 1 Warlock Concaves. You could also include, instead of that, you could have at least 1 Windrider Host, which are the bikes. So a Farseer, a Warlock Conclave, 3 units of Windriders, and a Viper Squadron. Or a Guardian Storm Host, which is a Farseer, 3 units of Storm Guardians, 1 Viper Squadron, 1 unit of Warwalkers, 1 Val's Wrath Support Battery, and 0 to 1 Warlock Conclaves. So instead of Guardians, you get Storm Guardians, basically. It's the same thing as that. So that's it. So now, for every Guardian Host, you can take 0 to 3 regions of the War Hosts. And there's 0 to 3 per Guardian Host, as I said. So these include Heroes of the Craftworlds, which could be an Autarch, a Prince Uriel, Eldrad, or Illic Knightspear. Could be a Seer Council, which has at least 2 Farseers and a Warlock Conclave. And 1 Farseer may be replaced by Eldrad. Or Living Legends, which is an Avatar, Azurman, Jane Zar, Karandraz, Fugan, Behareth, or Magan Ra. All the really cool Exarchs. So you have one of those. And then for every Guardian Host, you have to take at least 1. You can have between 1 and 12 of the following. These are called the auxiliary, formations. There's the Outcasts, which is just a unit of Rangers. And Rangers are good. Aspect Host, which, as you can guess, 3 units of Dire Avengers, Howling Banshees, Striking Scorpions, Fire Dragons, Swooping Hawks, Dark Reapers, Warp Spiders, or Shining Spears in any combination. Crimson Death, 3 Crimson Hunters. Dire Avenger Shrine, 3 units of Dire Avengers. Engines of Val, which is 1 unit of Night Spinners, 1 unit of fire prisms, or 1 unit of falcons. Pretty straightforward stuff there. Wraith Host, spirits here, 3 units of Wraith Guard or Wraith Blades. These are still going to be really nasty. Wraith Lord and a Wraith Knight. This is going to be a popular one. And Wraith Constructs, 1 Hemlock Wraith Fighter, Wraith Lord, and Wraith Knight. Or Wraith Knight. So, the restrictions on this detachment is this detachment must include at least 1 core choice. For each core choice, you must include between 1 and 12 auxiliary choices in any combination, and you may also include up to 3 command choices in any combination. Only the data sheets listed here may be included in the data detachment. But here are the command benefits. Pretty simple. Matchless agility. If a unit composed entirely of models from this detachment runs, do not roll a d6 to determine run distance. Instead, it automatically counts as having rolled a 6. This will normally mean that the unit can run up to 6 inches. So, I'm surprised it also didn't say re-warlord trait. It usually says you get to re-roll your warlord trait. But, yeah. And as I said, battle focus is still a thing. And pretty much everyone has it. And so that means basically no more rolling. It's just, I get to move 6 inches, shoot you, and then move 6 inches. Predictable and very powerful. And that's just for taking the detachment alone. I'm guessing it also gets to re-roll the warlord trait, because that's typically what happens. Warlord traits, basically all the same as before. Very little change with them. We'll go to the Remnants now, I guess. And I'll briefly go over the psychic powers. But that alone. And I'll be going over the formations later as well. In each formation, great rules. So, as you can see, battle focus is still a thing. Still a thing. Oh, one of the other things that also I should probably brought up was the shields. The shields on the Wave Serpents, the Serpent Shields, they got nerfed as well. Which is good, because Wave Serpent spam is huge. And the shields are now a one-time use only, and once you use them, your shield is done, and you can't use it anymore. So, that's, cool. So let's quickly go to the Remnants of Glory. But it's a spelling error in my codex, and it actually says the Remnants of Gory in the appendix for the digital edition. Remnants of Glory. Here are the Remnants of Glory. Now, these are different than the Remnants from the previous codex. There's actually a significant difference. So I'll be going over them. Most of the things I will be saying are very similar to the last codex, so I'll probably just reference them a lot because they're very similar. So there's Kernio's Bow, which is a 12-inch range, strength 4, AP3 pistol, which has rending. Shard of Anaris, which is strength +2, AP- melee rending Vol's Work, which Vol's Work, the bearer of this weapon, has the Fearless special rule. In a challenge, attacks made with this weapon have the Fleshbane and Instant Death special rule. This is going to be a popular one. I think this is going to be a very popular Remnant of Glory, because if it has Fleshbane and Instant Death, it instant kills you on a 2-up, and it's, it doesn't have an AP. So you won't get feel, just use your feel no pain. There's the Alden Norethi Long Rifle, which is 120 range. 10 feet. 10-foot long rifle. Strength X, so it's a sniper. AP3, heavy 1, sniper. In case you want to shoot something really badly. There's the Foul Chew's Wing, which is a model. The Foul Chew's Wing can run up to 48 inches in its shooting phase, provided that it did not manifest any psychic powers or shoot this turn. If it does so, it cannot shoot or charge for the remainder of the turn. Alright. However, this model can re-roll failed cover saves until the start of the next turn. So it can literally just run across the entire table to grab you an objective. This one's going to be very strong as well. For Maelstrom War games, you attach it to a guy and you just run him across the table. And he can grab one objective easily. There's the Fire Saber. Strength +1, AP3, melee, Soul Blaze, Wildfire. Which is whenever the Fire Saber's Soul Blaze rule inflicts 1 or more unsaved wounds, roll a d6 for every unit, friend or foe, but excluding the bearer's unit within 6 inches of that unit that suffered a wound. On a 4-up, that unit is set a Soul Blaze as well, as per the Soul Blaze special rule. That's pretty cool. Kind of funny. Amazing against orcs and like horde armies. The Phoenix Gem. 1 use only, immediately before the bearer of the Phoenix Gem is removed as a casualty, roll a d6. On a score of 1, remove the model as a casualty. On a 2 to 6, center the large blast over the model. Each unit, friend or foe, suffers a number of strength 4 AP 5 hits, equal number of models in their unit, excluding the bearer, that are at least partially under the template.
If at least one unsaved wound is caused, the bear is not removed as a casualty, but remains in play with a single wound remaining. If no unsaved wounds are caused, remove the model as a casualty. Kind of cool. The Spirit Stone of the Anathlon. Every time the bearer of the Spirit Stone Anathlon attempts to manifest a psychic power, he can choose to reduce the warp charge cost by 1 to a minimum of 1. If he does so, he cannot use his rune armor's invulnerable save until the start of the next turn. So trade-off there. Cool stuff. So we're going to quickly go over the psychic powers now. Wine as well. We have a little bit of time. As I said, they're all the same as last codex, except for like one. So the runes of battle are identical. They're the ones that the warlocks typically use. You have the choice between the two. The Primaris powers Conceal, Reveal. Warp Charge 1. Destruct or Renewer is the first one. Warp Charge 1. Embolden, Horrify. Warp Charge 1. Enhance, Drain. Warp Charge 1. Protect, Jinx. Warp Charge 1. They're all Warp Charge 1. Quicken, Restrain is number 5. And Empower, Innervate is number 6. They're all the same as before. So as I said, I don't really want to go over them too much. They're a Blessing or Malediction that do the opposite things. The Malediction targets your opponent. The Blessing targets you. Like one adds cover to you, one removes cover from your opponent kind of thing. And the Runes of Fate, pretty much all of them stayed the same. The Primaris is still Guide, Warp Charge 1. Executioner is number 1, Warp Charge 1. Doom is now Warp Charge 2. It's now Warp Charge 2 instead. Now this is the new one, because they removed Death Mission. Because no one really liked Death Mission from the previous codex. If you got Death Mission, you're like, I don't want to use that. So Death Mission is gone. And the new one is called Will of Ezrin. It's number 3, and it's a Warp Charge 2. Will of Ezrin is a blessing that targets the Psyker. While the power is in effect, the Psyker and all friendly units within 12 inches of the Psyker have Fearless and Adamantium Will special rules. Pretty strong. Keeps your guys in battle. Good stuff there. Fortune is Warp Charge 2, number 4. Mind War, Warp Charge 2. Once again, it's Focus Witchfire. You do your roll off, try to kill your opponent. Sorry, if the scars are drawn, the target model suffers a -1 penalty to its weapon skill, ballistic skill. If psychic power is higher, the target also suffers a number of wounds equal to the difference between the two scores. Yeah. And number 6 is Eldritch Storm, Warp Charge 3 or 4. Each time the psychic power is used, choose whether it will have a warp charge cost of 3 or 4. If the choice must be made before the psychic pass is taken. Eldritch Storm is a Witchfire power with the following profiles. It uses the first if it is manifested at Warp Charge 3, and the second if it's Warp Charge 4. So if it's Warp Charge 3, it's 24-inch range, Strength 3, AP 3, Assault 1, Fleshbane, Haywire, Large Blast, Pinning. However, if you use a Warp Charge 4, this is actually one of the newer ones. Sorry, I should have mentioned, this is a newer psychic power. It's 24-inch range, Strength 3, AP 3, Assault 1, Apocalyptic Blast, Fleshbane, Armor Bane, Haywire. That's huge. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. That's a newer one. That's huge. Eldritch Storm. It's a Warp Charge 4, though. So you're throwing a lot of dice at this power. But of course, this is when you use your runes of the Farseer and you get to re-roll. So you can probably get away with only throwing like 6 dice at a Warp Charge 4, and you'll probably get away with it. Maybe even 5. 4 would be risky. But, yeah. And you get it off, and it's a giant apocalyptic blast of Haywireness. Crazy. Which would be pretty hard for your opponent to deny if it's a Warp Charge 4. So, crazy stuff there. And that's basically it for my first video. I'm going to stop here because we're about at 20 minutes. So, basically I said, sum it up, not a lot of changes, but there were some, which I will be going over in the videos. I think it's a very powerful codex. The big ones were obviously like the D size got changed to a weaker D. The Serpent Shields got nerfed. Force Organizations moved around slightly, with the Avatar and the Wraith Knight being moved to Lord of War and the Harlequins being removed. I still think that the psychic powers, the Eldar, are going to be insane now that they have access to Sancta, and they also have that runes of the Farseer, which is very powerful. And yeah, and Death Mission's gone, and a good one got replaced it. So good stuff there. So, thank you very much for watching this part of my in-depth review. Stay tuned in the next one, where I'll be going over the HQ section, all of the HQs. There's tons of HQs to go over, so I'll be going over all of them in good detail. And leave a comment in the comment section down below what you think. What are your first impressions? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? I still think it's going to be a very powerful codex. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. It really does help a lot. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting.